Next up, taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Kia Sportage. Now there are technically two different options available for this screen and two different options available for the infotainment system. But if you want to walk through the infotainment or the other options there, you'll find those down in the description of this video. But let's go for it. So first thing I gotta say, the steering wheel inside of this one is nice and simple. There would be the option for a heated steering wheel in some trim levels of the Sportage. It's just that this base trim doesn't have it available. You're looking at a manual telescoping steering wheel. It's just by your left knee, in and out, up and down to find that perfect position. Click it, lock it back into place. The stick on the left-hand side is going to be for, obviously, left turn. You've also got different high beam options. So you can see there, this one, if you push away, turns it into an auto mode instead. So what the auto mode means is that if there's an oncoming vehicle, your high beams are going to slightly dim and then they'll come back on automatically. Or if you're warning people in case of police, you can also flash that way instead. Along the right-hand side, that's for your front wipers and then rear wipers there as well. One thing, tip of that stick, is going to be for different lamps. So you've got auto mode and etc. I always just recommend, honestly, just keep it in the auto mode. Definitely the easiest thing to do, but if you want your lights on all the time, that is available there as an option if you want it. Turn them off, but I say auto mode definitely is the way to go. Nice and simple. Series of other buttons that are going to be available. So this is a voice command prompt. If you're hooked up through iPhone or Android devices, you can press there to activate either your Google or Siri assistant. There's a volume rocker there. You can push in the middle in order to mute out the audio. You can go up and down too between stations, so you can kind of see going between different presets there. You can also do a press and hold if you wanted to seek this way. So it's kind of going crazy there, so you do have that option. You can answer or hang up on a phone call, and then there's a custom button there. So there are two different custom buttons. So mode means that you can go between all of the selected options here. So if you want it going between phone, Bluetooth, USB music, it's essentially all of your available presets, or all of your available settings, I should say. This other one is going to be for certain things. So do you want it to reject calls, privacy mode, voice memos, quiet mode, and things like that? So nothing too crazy. I wish that you could do a little bit more there, but that's the basics of that specific button. This one is pages to go through the cluster, and that's an up and down to go through that screen, but I'll show you that one in just a second. Now inside of the vehicle, you're going to have the option for different cruise control systems. So this one here is just your base cruise control, and then you've also got the option for the smart cruise instead. So the smart cruise is that set it and forget it cruise, so it'll automatically slow you down. But your base cruise works essentially the same way. So once you're driving, you turn it on, then you can increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. You could pause or resume. So let's say if you were, I don't know, cruising on the highway, you wanted to stop, you could hit the brake if you wanted to, but you could also press there to just kind of pause it temporarily and then restart it as necessary. And then there's also a follow assist system too. So that one's going to keep you nice and balanced in your lane as you go. This button is going to be for the cluster, so you can kind of go between different modes there. So let's get you zoomed in. There we go. All right, so all I'm doing is just kind of going up and so I'm going through the pages using this button and then up and down using this button there. Just easier for you to see this. All right, so 4 individual pages there, but before I dive into that, let's figure out everything that's going on along the side. So you can see along the right side there, that's going to be your tachometer versus speedometer. Along the bottom, that's your current fuel level, current engine temperature, what gear you're currently in. So park, reverse, neutral, drive, etc. Back into your park mode. And then it's what current range do you have based off of the vehicle right now. So how much gas you've got in, how far you're going to get. Along the bottom, if there was a speed sign available, and then you've also got your current kilometers traveled versus the outside temperature. Right there, we've got the vehicle set up, and you've got your base safety settings enabled, disabled, etc. And then you can also go through the center stack and you can adjust what drive mode you're in. I personally prefer the sport mode. It's going to hold on to the RPMs a little bit longer to give you a sportier performance, but there's also terrain mode. So you can go drive mode, terrain mode, and things like that. So a big benefit there is that obviously sporty performance for summertime driving versus wintertime. You want it to play with your traction stability control and things like that. That's where you're going in order to make it happen. So really a matter of preference which way you go there. But that's the basics of kind of adjusting what's going on at the screen itself. Now, the button there. So as I mentioned, it's 4 individual screens that you've got. You can then go up and down between options. So attention level, if you start to veer over into a lane too many times without signaling, it's eventually going to tell you that you should probably take a break. Moving back, you've got a few different drive infos. So this one always throws people off, but drive info, this basic one, is since the car was last turned on. Since refueling is since you've refueled the vehicle, you can press OK in the center button there. So the one that you're going up and down, you can push OK in order to reset it if you want to. So you can see there, zeroes it out. And then your accumulated info would be more of like a trip 1 counter instead. So you can easily press the OK button in the center there if you wanted to be able to reset any of those values. And then there's also the auto start stop system. Moving back to the next page, and that's going to be, series driver assistance settings. Speed limit, speed limit warnings, assist, so it can automatically slow you down if you're going too fast. Offset, so if you are going too fast or too slow, whatever the case may be, you can automatically, I'm just going to turn that system off. Cluster themes, so as of right now, you can see along the very bottom, it's currently in sport mode. So it's going to link the look of the screen to whatever drive mode that you're in, or you can permanently lock it out to any of those modes that are available. Just love that look instead. Wiper light display, icy road warnings, get notifications, welcome sound, whether or not that plays. Nothing too exciting there. Lights, so you can adjust the brightness of the cluster screen if you want to. Turn signals as a default is going to go 3. You can have it go 1, 3, 5, or 7 if you want to. Kind of like it that you can adjust that though. Headlight delay, so when you go to lock the vehicle, do the lamps turn off automatically or stay on for a bit? And then high beam assist. So if you're in that auto mode, that's the one that's going to automatically dim the high beams for you instead. Door settings. Do you want the vehicle to automatically lock when you shift, or do you want to enable it when you get up to speed? Do you want it to automatically unlock when you shift to park, when you take the key out of the vehicle, or turn the vehicle off? To press unlock on the fob itself, and then do you want to get horn feedback as you go to lock, unlock the doors, etc.? Convenience settings, rear occupant alert. When you go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to let you know to check the back seats. Service interval, so if you wanted to, you can enable it, and big benefit there, you can say when you're actually needing to come in for service. I do recommend obviously bringing your vehicle in for service, but having the interval reminder is useful just in case you forget. And it's the same thing with oil. So if you're changing oil yourself, cool, or you can enable a reminder if you need to. Auto rear wiper when you're in reverse. So if you've got your main wipers going there and you put the vehicle into reverse, it's automatically going to turn on your rear wiper as well. How do you want the speed measured in either kilometers or in miles? It changes, as you can see there, everything, but it still gives you the option for kilometers along the top too, which is kind of nice. Temperature units, do you want Celsius or Fahrenheit? How do you want to measure? So kilometers or liters, and this one is dynamic. So if you're in miles per hour, hop back, fuel economy, so either gallon, US or UK. Let's go back to Canadian and back. Tire pressure, same idea, PSI, K, bar, etc. And then reset. So you can bring everything back to a factory default screen instead. So if you don't like what you've done with it, just reset it back to default. And then from there, you've also got what's currently going on with wheel power. So this one has the all-wheel drive, which is why it's all 4 wheels that are highlighted there. So it's as you're driving, it's going to let you know which wheel is driving which amount of power. And then tire pressure you have to drive in order to display. So if you were only in front-wheel drive, the front wheels would only show up, but all-wheel drive, it's going to show you on each side which wheel gets which amount of power. So I know that's a little bit of info, but that's everything that you need to know about the steering wheel and the cluster screen inside of the Sportage. Watch this. There's your little reminder. Check the back seats. Make sure you didn't forget a fur baby back there.